Welcome. This is the Between Brothers podcast, where we give you real talk, authentic takes, and laughs on sports, pop culture, and life. I'm your host, Lando, along with my brother Zero, my big brother. How's your week been? Catch us up.
It was hot. It was sweltering. It was like I couldn't. It's like what's it called? I couldn't do anything. But as soon as I hop out the van, I start sweating. I wake up, I'm sweating. It's like my body's already telling me, "Hey, man." It's like why is it so hot in here? We got the AC on. It's like your body was like, "Yeah, we're preparing you for what's gonna happen today." It's
Bro, yeah, it's been a steamy week out here, dog.
yeah, but got through it. So it is. So it's like it was pretty all right for the most part. Um, but really nothing much to report beside. And I ain't trying to complain about no damn work up here. So yeah, but there really wasn't much to complain about. But the heat, and it's like I wasn't just suffering through it; everybody was suffering through it. The only thing that I, the one thing I'm happy about when it comes to the weather is the fact that nobody is out here talking about why is it so hot outside. I posted something a couple of years ago, and I said, news flash. It's hot in the summer. It's cold in the winter. Nothing's changed. Expect to sweat when it's summertime. Expect to freeze when it's wintertime. It's like, it's like, that's why I don't really, that's why I was like, yeah, it was hot, but it's at the same time, it's something to expect because dead in the middle of July, what exactly do you expect to happen? Yeah, but that's about it though, for real.
Yeah, my week was kind of mid work wise, but yesterday we went to a birthday party. Um, the Duchess's mom turned 65 yesterday, so we did that. They had a tent outside. I was like, this is not a good idea. It is 493 degrees outside.
A tent?
Yeah, and it was massive though. It fit like 50 people. But yeah, and not only that, they had the hibachi. So you had heat on top of heat on top of heat out there. I said, yeah, this is not a good idea. And then thank goodness the rain was supposed to come, so it started cooling down. But of course, it cooled down after it was already too hot. We had to eat in this sweltering heat. But yeah, it was a good time. Shout out to her and turning 65. And so I had a funny moment today with Cocoa Puff. Oh, and by the way, teaching a child how to drive is the most dangerous thing on the planet. Like Link, I don't know what's going on with bro, man. Like I'm like, stop. And he's just coasting. Like, what do you think I mean by that? And then when I tell him to slow down, he's like, every time he comes to a complete stop, we're jerking. I'm like, bro, let it stop.
Ease on the brake.
I'm like,
Like,
see, I should have just paid the $450 for the damn driving lessons because I'm about to decapitate this boy. But yeah, so I mean, there's that funny moment today. I'm standing. I'm talking to the Duchess. Coco Puff says, "Hey, Daddy." Nothing of it. She always says, "Hey, Daddy." Turn around. Yes, Coco Puff. He's posing like this. So I'm like, why are you posing like you were part of the Ginyu Force? I don't know. And she's like, I don't know. And I just busted out laughing. So I tried to take a picture, but then she wouldn't be embarrassed. So it wasn't embarrassing posing for no reason.
You beautiful Joe.
So, yeah, yeah. So that was funny. That was funny. But outside that, man, it's been a good week. Just that, we got a couple of things that we've discussed and we'll talk about here today. Um, that just don't really make a lot of sense in the realm of sports and everything else. So I want to start with the elephant in the room. And that elephant is a man by the name of RG3. Now, that's really not the elephant in the room because the topic that we're really going to get into really deep, we're going to get to that later. But I wanted to briefly, we were going to talk about RG3 last week again. But I was like, no, I don't want to talk about him because he's a clown, he's lame, and I don't like him. But then Shaq said something about it, and Gil's Arena said something about it. And so I'm like, okay, we should discuss it a little bit. So RG3 puts out a post saying there's no room for racism about Angel Reese because somebody put the cover of Angel Reese and replaced her with a chimpanzee. But before he got to that part, he puts this entire essay about how Angel Reese shared a post that had his family threatened and things of that nature. So come to find out, it was the post about what Ryan Clark said about him. And so I'm like, I don't see what that got to do with Angel Reese. Ryan Clark is what said it about you.
Hmm.
It's not like Ryan Clark is some nobody. The Pivot's probably one of the biggest sports podcasts. At least is the only one I really listen to. So I'm like, I don't know how this got here. And then you say this thing about Angel Reese, then you say this thing like her family reached out to you. We knew that was a lie. Like we all know that was a lie. And so
I can't hear you.
why can't she hear me? Did I just cut out?
I hear you now.
Okay. All right, cool. Um, so we all know that you were lying about the whole situation about Angel Reese's people reaching out to you or whatever. Like we all know that was fabricated. But here you go talking, giving life to a post that nobody knew about. And then now Shaq has got on your ass. And Shaq is like, yo, remove his glasses, look dead in the camera and said, if you do it again, I'm gonna punch you in your effing face. His rebuttal to that was something like Shaq must have been hungry or something lame that a lame nigga like Lane Griffin III would say. Robert Griffin the lame to the third power would say. And I'm like,
Mm.
this dude really don't get that niggas don't like him. Nobody fools with you, dog. Nobody. Nobody likes you. You might not care. We don't care that you don't care. Angel Reese has been playing well. You've mentioned nothing about Angel Reese, but every chance you get, you want to bring up Caitlin Clark, who's having a down year.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a lot of it is due to her injuries this season. The physical play that she's had to come across. But that tends to happen to people who talk a lot of trash. People tend to want to get physical with you. Deal with it or stop
With
talking.
exactly within the confines of the game.
You know, and so with that being said, I need to hear from you, Zero. Why is RG3 the lamest of the lame? You know, actually, before you go, Rob Parker said he was a cornball brother 2012. Rob Parker's nephew cuts my hair. He owns 2 barbershops. One in New York, one out here. And I was like, your uncle was the first to say it. And he started laughing. He was like, yeah, my uncle lost his job over it pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And it was mostly because of the reasoning and the white wife thing is that's why they took it there. But yes, I don't know if people thought you was a cornball because you had a white wife, but you got a white wife because you're a cornball. And what I mean by that is there's plenty of non-cornball dudes with white wives. I know a few, but you ain't one of them. You've never been one of them. That's why nobody cared that Kirk Cousins was there to take your spot.
Dude, they got drafted in the same draft. They brought the
The
same
only
draft.
person who fought for you was Dan Snyder, one of the worst owners of all time. And I was one of the people who thought he was gonna have a great career. But nobody fools with you, dog. Nobody. You don't see nobody but racists coming to their defense, to his defense. And it's just like that you I never want to put something out there that racists believe that I'm on their side.
Yeah.
But Zero, go ahead.
Hmm. I don't know why he's the lamest of the lame. I mean, what's it called? Like, like it's been repeated. Like there was no reason why you needed to say what you said, why you posted what you posted, because it didn't have no traction until you posted it. You wanted to write this whole fucking thesis statement about this entire thing, and it doesn't. And what's it called? The, like I'm 100% behind what Shaq said because the problem is that like you call yourself trying to come to her defense, but then in the same token, still wanted to throw shade. But if you're coming to her defense, come to her defense. But if you're, but if that's not the case, keep your fucking mouth shut. Like, and all these things, nobody has asked. Like, it's the Dave Chappelle joke about Ja Rule. It was like when shit was going down. I think with the when Bush went to war, had the war in Iraq, and the news asked Ja Rule for his opinion. It was like nobody asked. It's like nobody cares what Ja Rule has to say. So, Ja Rule isn't going to make sense of these things. That's what this is. Except it's like nobody cares about what you got to say, RG3. And then you're gonna say he must have been hungry, like for real. Big man joke. It was like this is exactly why nobody likes your stupid ass. This, oh, he must have been hungry. He was like, yeah, you. He's
Yeah,
like,
he said
okay.
something like he must have been hungry or skipped a meal or missed breakfast, something along the lines like he needed to eat. I'm like, but it wasn't clever enough for me to bother to remember it. You've never been cool. You've never been funny.
Yo, that was a yacht club joke because that damn show. No, yeah, he's like, oh, he must have been hungry.
Look, look,
See,
look.
that's
And
why
then
he's
you
a
know,
cold.
and that's why you and you know when they look around to make sure other people laughing with.
It's like, dog, you're the only one in the room.
Oh man.
oh, oh, it's just me. Never mind. Yeah, so you see, this is exactly why I called you a cornball brother because you got cornball jokes. We seen those pictures with that cornball smile. It's like, what's it called? Your knee got crushed up like a cornball. Like you just cornball all the way around. It's like he's a bitch made fool ass punk. That's all I gotta say
Yes.
about that nigga.
Yes. You know, I forget. I think his name is Demetrius Johnson. He's considered like
MMA?
one of the great, yeah, great, one of
Yes,
the greatest,
Demetrius. Demetrius.
greatest MMA fighters in history. And him and RG3 are kind of cut from the same cloth in which they are with Caucasian women um and he was like RG3 was like applauding him for being with a Caucasian woman essentially. And he was like, black women used to like try to bully him and stuff like that. And people was pointing out like how RG3's face lit up when he said that. And it was like, oh, like they're not strong enough to deal with a black woman, which I don't necessarily think that that's a badge of honor to wear. Like if people like, trying to intimidate you or whatever, if you don't have to deal with it just because of the sake of the complexion of their skin. But Demetrius isn't corny. RG3 is. That's what I'm saying. Like there's people, shoot, I'm talking about him all the time. My best friend, Big Mike. He's married to a white woman. He's not, he's by far, he's one of the funniest people I know. One of the funniest people I know. So it's just like this, but for RG3, we know you because you don't got no game. You had a game on the football field. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. At Baylor, rookie of the year, like you was
Mhm.
doing it. But ever since you stopped playing football, you stopped being anything. Nobody like that's what there's like you even the whole thing where he was like ESPN, that ain't a good look with the Ryan Clark situation trying to drag ESPN onto it. He didn't
Mhm.
even talk about you on ESPN, so why you bringing up ESPN? ESPN terminated you and kept him. They were firing a lot of people. They chose him over you. But what you want to sit here and be like, oh, look at this. Like you thought you was gonna rob Parker Ryan Clark? No, no. ESPN fired him because he said it on ESPN. That's it. So don't try to drag ESPN and think that they about to save you. Again, they're not. They don't care. They don't like you. That's why they fired
Yo, imagine if that was on his termination letter. It's like
you.
it's like, yo, it's like, yo, we had to it's like we made sure to get a black dude to say this to you. Nigga, we don't like you. It's like
And
we we only care if anything it's like everything bad happens to you and only you. He's like, so bad luck in any of your future
and
endeavors.
the thing is, like, there were talented people who were fired off of ESPN. I'm not saying RG3 does like his takes are horrible, and all of his takes are horrible. All of his takes on the WNBA are. So stop talking about it. Stick to football. Like
Mhm.
there's certain people who can talk about all sports, and there's certain people who can't.
You're the latter.
Yeah, like me, I can talk about all sports because I'm a nerd. You're not that. You know
You
what I'm
may look
saying?
like one.
Yeah, you may look and talk, and you may fit the description of one, but you're not. Because I
Now,
really do I was not able to play sports at a high level like a lot of these like, places you see on TV. But I read it, I studied it, I did participate in it. So it's like understand it. I understand on a professional level, but I understand it on the highest level that I could achieve. But you like you just need to not the only thing you talk about when it comes to the WNBA is the political side of it that you want to focus on, which is Caitlin Clark and people hating on Caitlin Clark. And it's just like, no, like people really like NBA players don't really hate great players unless they like are similar to Caitlin Clark, where they get, they'll get up in your face and they're chippy and and there's nothing wrong with that in her level of game. But you, Kate, Dave Bucher's giving women the work just like Caitlin Clark did last year. You don't see her facing any of that. You know what I'm saying? Asia Wilson came in as a rookie cooking. Diana Taurasi, Kelsey Plum, Candace Parker. Candace Parker is the greatest rookie to ever play the game. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, no, Caitlin Clark likes to do a lot of this, while the rest of them don't really. And then the Angel Reese point at the ring, and you can't see me. That's because Caitlin Clark does this. Angel Reese chirps too. That's why you see her getting her hair yanked where she's hooping and stuff like that. So the same thing happens to her, but y'all make it seem like it's a crime when it happens to Caitlin Clark.
that Angel Reese deserves it.
Yeah, and the Angel Reese deserves it because I said this before, and I'll say it every time. Because Angel, because Caitlin Clark is an average looking middle American Caucasian girl who can do great things. She has the complexion for the protection, and she also has the looks for the protection. Because if she was some drop dead gorgeous woman, y'all would be hating on her too. Because women don't like when beautiful women succeed.
And now when you built like a Sprite can,
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like nah, like we're not about to do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I forget what podcast it was with this white guy. I forget the name of the podcast. This white guy was like, Sakari Richardson and Angel Reese weren't good looking.
yeah,
And
it's
then
like
the guy looks like the ugly sidekick. Whatever ugly sidekick you think of, Tim. Igor, the freaking whatever Adam Sandler sidekick is in every movie.
Captain Hook sidekick.
Whatever ugly sidekick, and he's not even an overweight guy like Captain Hook sidekick, but he looks like him. Whatever you can think of, that's who he looks like. So it's just like, there's an attack on women of color at all times.
And you just keep
And
on perpetuating that shit by
that's what RG3 is doing. Because, like I said, he ended the statement with, "There's no room for racism." He didn't lead with it. He had this whole 4-page letter like Aaliyah, and then he closed it with a kiss. Literally. Like, oh, mwah. But by the way, mwah. No room for racism. Mwah. Like, what?
yeah,
All nothing that you said before then had anything to do with racism. So if nobody,
yo,
people don't read. So
you
no,
know it's
go ahead.
it's funny that you mentioned his thesis statement. It was like he had all this shit to say, And at the end, he said it was a oh by the way.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was a here nigga damn.
So what y'all niggas is looking for?
Yeah, because if you know niggas don't read, like people don't like to read. So if nobody would have read that whole thing, it would have just been he was sharing the post.
Yeah. It's like, oh, so you find it funny, nigga?
Not only that, you only get like if somebody read it, most people probably read it halfway down. Like to read the whole thing, it's like okay, like come on, dude, like what are you doing? But dude is a sucker, and it is what it is. Like I said, he don't talk about the WNBA unless it's something political against his favorite player. And it's like, stop acting like you follow the league. You don't. I'm somebody who watches the WNBA. I watched more WNBA games than NBA games this year. I'm not gonna act like I'm a bigger fan of the WNBA than I am the NBA. That's not even that's nowhere closer to being the truth. I don't know why that's happened, to be honest. So um so yeah, it's just even people keep like talking about like the rebounds thing. And it's like if
Mm.
you took away all her offensive rebounds, she'd lead the league in rebounds. Not just rebounding her own shots. She had more defensive rebounds than the total number of rebounds the second person had. And y'all still doing the rebound thing. And then she marketed it, now she's making money off of it. Y'all are stupid. Angel Reese is playing y'all like a fiddle. Caitlin Clark is looking like Brady Quinn in her commercials. Cue the mild pet flex commercials.
Now the it's your boy again.
Yeah, like you know. So, and again, Caitlin Clark is a fine player. Like she really is. She really is. She can really
not
hoop.
not
She can really hoop.
yeah, fine at basketball. because because somebody might confuse that. Is it, but you said she's average looking. Now you say she's fine. She's a
No,
fine
definitely
basketball,
nah.
but
Nah.
she's
There ain't very many uh Caucasian women I'm gonna call fine like that. Yeah, I'll tell y'all that much. Not saying there ain't. They're just not my cup of tea. But but yeah, I mean, there really ain't much to say.
yeah,
There ain't much else to say. So
yeah.
let's
So
move
yeah,
on.
bitch ass nigga,
Yeah. Bitch made fool ass
fool ass
punk.
punk.
Um, you know, speaking of this is a weird segue. Speaking of bitch made fool ass punks, there's this guy I mentioned. Did I mention him on the podcast? He was he talks about like he talks a lot about racism and white supremacy and stuff like that. I came across his page. He made like some kind of thing. He was defending trans people.
Mm-mm.
Um, so he I don't want to get too far into it. He liked debating people though. So he recently debated Charlie Kirk, which that guy's an imbecile.
Mm.
And he's racist. But the guy says on his videos on Instagram, what's good, fuck niggas? If you fuck with me, hit a follow. I'm never gonna follow you calling me that.
But
Since when was that a term of endearment?
he said, "What's up, fuck niggas?" Like,
He's like,
yo, who when have you ever greeted somebody like that and thought
I
that
don't, I
that physical
don't know.
confrontation wasn't going to happen?
We talked about this last week. You can tell when niggas ain't from the because niggas from the hood ain't saying that.
It's like he's like, yo, what up, fuck nigga? He's like,
Yo, you getting
fuck
shot.
nigga. He's
You
like,
getting
who the
shot.
fuck? I'm saying it's like the first thing they gonna come out their mouth is who the fuck he think he talking to like
Yo,
that.
for real. For real. That's not like, yo, not all black people from the hood. Not just because you use the word nigga don't mean
Yo,
you from us. Like you one of
like
us.
fuck nigga is the aggressive version of cornball.
Yo, for real.
for
For
me.
real.
For me,
No, that's for real though. That's for real though. So I don't know. Yeah, you just saying. I was like, oh, like this guy. And don't get me. Some of his stuff is 'cause I think he's like very liberal leaning.
uh-huh.
But some of his stuff is like I think he makes some straw man arguments, just similar to what Kirk does. Like Charlie Kirk asks a dude. He was like, "Would you rather have a pilot who was qualified or a pilot who was diverse?" Like, what the hell does that even mean?
It means nothing. It's like
And he's
so
like,
what's the
answer the question. And the dude's like,
I
how do you even answer that? Yes, you can. Because I ain't care. I'm like, I've never looked up. I've been on a plane a few times. Been on a bus a few times.
mm,
Been on a cab a few times. I never looked up a nigga's credentials to see if he was qualified.
wait. What was the third one you said? You said you've been in a what?
A cab or a taxi cab. No, because these are people who transport you.
Okay, because I was like,
So I'm like, like they all get licensed, they all go through testing, they all
mm,
they all go through things to get
yeah.
as far you need a well actually taxi license ain't really hard to get as long as you got a driver's license you can get a taxi license. I actually got a taxi license, never used it, but but I did get a taxi license. Just like I mean similar to like Uber, like all you need is a driver's license. So taxi is probably not a very good example, but like a bus driver you need CDL and all this other stuff. Pilot
Mm.
you need a pilot's license. So it's just like truck driver you need CDL and stuff like that. So it's just like I've never, ever, ever thought that somebody was hired to fly a plane because he didn't meet the requirements to fly a plane.
He
So
said
I
a
don't
driver.
give a flying fox what the complexion is. I promise you, unless bro pulled up, unless it was somebody trying to fly a plane with box cutters in their hands, I'm good. I'm good on that. Like I'm pretty sure you know what you're doing. What
Yeah,
you?
he
I'm like, bro, what are you talk? What is that? And the dude was like,
is
how can you even answer that? And I'm like, yeah, because the
yeah, because
dude's
is the diverse guy less qualified?
what makes him less qualified? Like has a pilot's license. I'm assuming that's all you need. I'm assuming the way you got the pilot's license was by going through the pilot license testing and schooling and all that other stuff that everybody else went through. So why does it matter? This
He
dude must have
said
watched Flight and was like, niggas be drunk. Denzel was drunk. You know, he wasn't qualified. He wasn't qualified. Like, what is that? Like, anyways, I got sidetracked. But these people be debating on social media, like specifically that guy Charlie Kirk is hilarious. I keep wanting to call him Clark because we were just talking about Caitlin Clark. But
Mm.
but Charlie Kirk, that guy is a certified clown. Like the biggest bro said the most important thing was the Epstein's files being released. Donald Trump said, why do you keep talking about that? He was like, there's other things we need to deal with. Yo, you are like there's nobody should be above criticism outside of Christ himself because he was perfect. Come
Oh
on, dog.
man.
But y'all treating that dude anyway. Let me not get sidetracked. Let's stick on the NBA, WNBA. I'm sorry. With they're they're kind of protesting right now. They're in the season. After this, I think their CBA is up after this year,
Hmm.
and they're trying to get more money. I heard that the issue is revenue split. I'm not 100% sure because I didn't dive too much into it, but excuse me, I heard revenue split is an issue, which is an issue with all leagues. There's never been a league that didn't go through what this thing is without it being about revenue split.
Every time, like it, I don't. I think it's the effort, like you said, every league. I think it's the only issue.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. I mean, there's sometimes there's
nothing
like
else.
smaller issues because like the NFL, it was like the players didn't want to do the extended season.
Hmm.
And they were like, okay, like we'll give you more of the share if you extend the season. So like they're like, okay, for enough money, yeah, we'll do it. But yeah, like that's what it is. And people are in social media saying nobody cares about WNBA, so why? And I'm like, if nobody cared, again, I watched WNBA basketball. There was a time where I watched WNBA and there were empty seats. And depending on the team, you ain't really seeing that no more. Chicago, I'm not seeing that. Minnesota, I'm not seeing that. New
New
York,
York.
I'm not seeing that. I haven't seen the LA Sparks games, so I don't know. But I'm not seeing that all over the league. So for y'all to continue this narrative that the WNBA is not increasing in popularity, even though statistically speaking, they've been increasing every year over the last 4 or 5 years in popularity, in revenue, in all kinds of things, in money made. Now, and they're not adding teams to the WNBA if they weren't making money.
Yeah.
Y'all dudes who don't like women being successful, gotta stop that. Even if you don't watch, that's like saying because you don't watch golf, Tiger Woods shouldn't have got paid.
It's like, what's it called? You don't like the sport. You don't like watching it. It's fine. It doesn't take any money out of your pockets.
Exactly. You don't have to support it. Like, for example, I've never heard anybody say Canelo Alvarez does not deserve $100 million. And why do I bring up Canelo Alvarez and the kind of money he's made? Actually, actually he's made a lot of money fighting nobody. So let's say $20 million. He made 20 million fighting some nobody dude. Emilio Durham, I think the guy's name was. Like
Mhm.
$25 million. Nobody who doesn't follow boxing said, why does he get paid that? So why y'all worried about what WNBA players are trying to get paid? Nobody who doesn't follow golf says, why did Tiger Woods become a billionaire? Like, so what is the gripe? If they're trying to get paid more, let them do that, go through collective bargaining and get paid more or less or whatever they end up at. So guess what? You as an employee at your job, if your job had a collective bargaining, you are not going to sit here and be like, well, based on the numbers, they really should pay us more. They should pay us less. So stop acting like what the WNBA players are doing is something that's unusual. Everybody, there's nobody who thinks they're overpaid.
Mhm.
There's nobody who believes that.
Yo, people
Whatever
were
you make,
pissed off about Caitlin Clark's contract when she got drafted. It was like, that's all she's getting?
yo, they said that. Why should they get paid more? Like what? Like especially when they compared it to Wemby's. Even it's like, well, the NBA is 100 times the league revenue wise that the WNBA is. Of course, he gets paid
Mhm.
as a rookie. So it's just, and they also play double the games.
Yeah.
I think the WNBA season is only 40 games, and it's like, um, NBA is 82 regular season and If you swept everybody, you would play 100 games, 98 to be exact. If you swept everybody in the finals or in the playoffs, which that's never happened.
Close, but no cigar for the Lakers.
So if you're a championship winning team, I think the fo. No. It was three, three, four, four. I think. I think they only lost one game.
Yeah,
Um,
I know the 01 Lakers that beat the Sixers. They only lost the game. The only game they lost in that was
yeah.
game one.
And then the Warriors 1 year lost one game.
Got you.
There's been a couple of teams that's lost only one game throughout the playoffs, but the Warriors I think the Warriors had the most wins in a had the most wins or had the highest winning percentage because they had an extra game. I think the
Got
Lakers
you.
went 15-1 and the Warriors went 16-1. It was one of the KD Warriors.
Mm.
I think the year that they swept the Cavs in the finals was when they went 16-1. But but yeah, it's just like that they're gonna are they asking for and I think people think that they're asking for like NBA player money. I think that's where the issue comes in is like just because they're asking for more than what they've been offered, don't mean they're asking for NBA money. Now, I
Mm.
guess I think Angel Reese said she thinks they should get paid what the NBA players get paid. Now, what NBA players? I don't know. Because she could just be like, like the veterans minimum for an NBA
Mm.
player is X. Like we should at least get that. Or now they talking about 53 million LeBron just re-signed for, or who is it? Giannis signed for like 62.5 million a year. Yeah, nah, I don't know what
Nah,
you're doing.
you can get that mid-level exception.
Yeah, yeah, like so I don't know how much money they're asking for specifically, but it's all about revenue share. Like you get paid, the NBA players get paid what they get paid because of revenue share. So I think the NBA, if you want to fact check this for me, I think it's a 50-50 split with the NBA. So yeah, they get paid that much money because that's what the revenue share is. If it's what I think the NBA makes $5 billion or maybe six. Let's say it's five. So $2.5 billion goes to the players for their salaries.
Mm.
And then they have, max salaries and things of that nature. So this is the most you can get paid. And then there's first apron, second apron. The cap is crazy. People who understand the NBA cap, kudos to them. I'm not that smart. But so there's so much more money that they get paid, based off of the revenue. So it's just like, so yeah. So if the revenue, let's say the WNBA is making, um, oh, I don't know, what's 5 billion. So let's say 5 billion. I said that WNBA. I just randomly threw out that the NBA is making 10 times the money. So let's say it's $500 million. 250 million goes to the players, and then they
Mm.
split that however they do. If they're saying we want 50%, we want this to be 50-50, and they're like, no, it should be 40-60, then yeah, like we should have a problem with that. Because like, hey, should we get paid the same as the men? Yes. But that doesn't mean they're talking about dollar amount. That could very well mean we just want to get the same revenue share. We want to get paid 50% of the money of the revenue that we make. And y'all get the other half. And that's it. So they're like, yeah, we want to get paid the same as men. They might not be talking about $60 million a year contracts. They might be talking about $3 million a year contracts, but in the scope of everything is based off of how much money the WNBA makes as a totality. Because there were some players that said, "Yo, I had to." I think Candace Parker said she had to play overseas to, make a really good living.
Mm.
And she was all over the place during the all season. Like the WNBA players don't want that. Just like at one point, the NBA players didn't want to ride on coach buses or coach flights. Now they got private jets. It's all the same.
Mm-hmm.
As leagues grow, revenue grows, splits grow, amenities grow. This is a natural process. I don't know why y'all acting like this is something that shouldn't happen. I'm sorry, I just went on a rant. Zero, go ahead.
No, I agree. Like, whenever folks talk about money with the WNBA, they make it seem as if they're asking for this absorbing amount of money. It's like, no, we should get. It's like I remember when Kelsey Plum, when she went on a podcast, and she said that she was like, we're not talking about getting paid like the men as far as those big ass salaries. She was talking about revenue share. But then I remember somebody made a video about revenue share, and they were saying that because of what the WNBA was bringing in, or lack thereof, that the players would have to pay. Yeah, they would be in the negative, and they would have to pay for the like, I think it was like $12,000 a player had to pay their share in order for them to do the 50-50. And it was like, how true is that? For one, because like you said, every time they talk about the women getting paid, it's always an issue. It's like, I don't know what's being brought in, but if this is what if they want 50-50, then there has to be some sort of monetarily, it's got to make sense, because there's nobody that's going to sit here and ask for equal revenue split, and they actively know that they have to pay to do it. That wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah. And and at the end of the day, you just gotta like if the owners were more transparent about the money that's made, they you probably wouldn't get as much issues when it comes to collective bargaining. It's like you can't sit here and tell me that you can pay me or pay anything X amount of millions of dollars and say you're not making money. Like that just
Mm.
doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of things. But that is true in a lot of ways. Like, they were saying like I think somebody was talking about Elon Musk, and they were like, Elon Musk isn't the smartest people think he is. Because it was like the only time that his companies have been profitable is when he stepped away from day-to-day operations. So it's like as I think Tesla lost money for like 17 years before they, it was when he stepped away from like the financials. So it's like, is he smart? Like, does he have great ideas? Yeah, but he doesn't know how to execute them well. And so it's just like, yeah, that's the and tech is real different. Like tech doesn't like you buy tech based off of the tech, not based off of the money they make. So it's weird. It's weird how those companies work. But it's at the end of the day, WNBA players keep getting them checks, yo. Do whatever, because like I said, there's no like even when players say like, "Oh, this guy should have took a pay cut," and I'm somebody who said that Daniel Jones should have took a pay cut, but it's because he's Daniel Bunza Plenty Jones. You suck, and your best player is looking for more money. So for the team's sake, do that. But for the most part, I don't think most players should take a pay cut because, like I said, anybody who comes up to their job and you ask them to take a pay cut, they're gonna say, "Screw you." And I agree with that to an extent. But You know, like I said, I'm sure Daniel Jones don't think that he was overpaid, even though he was by about $40 million. And yes, his contract was $40 million a year. Y'all do not have to correct me on
Yeah,
that.
he should be at home watching NFL Network.
This dude is still in the league. I can't understand it, man. I can't understand it. But anyways, he getting them checks, ladies. All right, now let's get to the real elephant in the room. The Bleacher Report Top 100. Now, there's just going to be points that I'm not. We're not about to break down the whole list because, in all honesty, ranking 100 players is difficult, and so I want to give Bleacher Report its shout out, its flowers, because ranking 100 players is very, very difficult.
Because there's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna be left off that damn list.
Yeah, and even because me and Zero was talking about this. Now, me, I'm really do love NBA history. I really do. It's one of the things that I read a lot about trying to be a basketball player. For some reason, I thought the more I knew about the game and its players, the better it would make me. That wasn't true. But I love the history of the NBA. I love the stories of the NBA from back then. So it's difficult to rank 100 players because I want to say maybe 4,000 players have played in the NBA. So I understand how difficult that can be. And I can understand how difficult it could be to rank them specifically. But there's certain rankings that they made and justifications that they made for the rankings just didn't make sense. So somebody had asked, we'll get to Kobe in a minute,
Hmm.
but I want to address this part first. And again, some of these things, I'm like, I don't know if, like, if I ranked all these players, they just took the 100 players that they ranked. I don't think I would come up with the same ranking. Like, for example, I don't know why Anthony Davis gets so much as much love as he does. Could you do me a favor? Could you find out where Dwight Howard was ranked?
All right, let me find my laptop because I'm on the cell phone. Uh,
No, I think I can look it up. Am I still here? Do you still see me?
yeah, as I know, yeah, Anthony Davis was, I believe he was 45.
Bear with us, people. I should have uh
Yeah, he was 45, I believe.
you
But I
said
don't.
Anthony Davis. I want to know where Dwight Howard was though.
All right.
Give me a moment. There's this. Okay. Okay, so Dwight was ranked 52.
Where was So Dwight was 52, and AD was 45. I know AD was top 50.
He was 37.
Oh, 37. Yeah. All right.
So
What has he?
So, like, I don't know what Anthony Davis has done to get so much love. Like, someone explain that to me. Someone explained it to me. I mentioned the zero. I said, I don't know what's the difference between Anthony Davis and Bill Walton. Like, Anthony Davis's career, both of them extremely talented players. Both of them. Did Anthony Davis win the national championship?
I don't think so.
What was the one and done team that like mainly one and dones that won a national championship? I think it was Anthony Davis's team.
It was him?
I don't know. I don't know because I don't think John Wall's team won.
No, they didn't.
But no, they didn't go undefeated. But I think they did end up winning a national championship. But regardless, so they're both fantastic college players. Anthony Davis, of course, better defensively. Bill Walton better offensively. Um, but like as far as their NBA careers go, riddled with injuries. Actually, Bill Walton had success early. Anthony Davis didn't have success until he got with LeBron. Bill Walton actually led his team to a championship. And Bill Walton actually, has multiple championships, unlike Anthony Davis. And so I'm like, so I don't know what Bill Walton's accolades were as far as all NBA and stuff like that. But as far as how their careers have tracked, because the awards, some Danny Green was made a defensive team. Danny Green made a defensive team, an all defensive team. So I don't like some of the accolades is like, okay, whatever. Michael Jordan has less MVPs than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. LeBron James has less MVPs than Michael Jordan. Why do I bring that up? Because there's no way you can convince me that LeBron shouldn't have more than the MVPs that he has. I think he has four. And Michael Jordan shouldn't have more MVPs than he has, which he should have five, which I think he has five.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I think, won multiple MVPs on losing teams. So, so I want to get to this point because I don't know I understand like some of the things that they wrote articles on and like kind of justifying it, but I'm like, okay, but in my head, I'm like, I really can't justify Anthony Davis being a top 50 player in the history of the NBA. It's hard for me to justify that he's top 70. Just because if he never gets with LeBron, none of y'all are talking about him like this. So there's that. Kareem and Magic. People brought up the Kobe thing and said, why did Kareem and Magic not cannibalize each other in their rankings? 3 and
Mm-hmm.
4 respectively. I want to try to explain this as quickly as possible. Magic Johnson had one of the greatest careers in the 80s. He was probably the best player of the 80s. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the best player of the 70s. So it's not like, because even though Kareem was on the team, he wasn't Kareem and Lou Alcindor. He wasn't that. He was a really good player for the most part. I mean, he was in the first maybe 2 championships, he was fantastic. And then after that, he was a shell of himself, essentially. I think he ended up winning like another finals MVP like in the later years, but he had a great series, but it's not like he wasn't the best player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar only wins 5 more championships because of Magic Johnson. So Magic Johnson, that's why he's a top 5 player. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a top 5 player because he was a Hall of Famer before he even got with Magic. He
Mhm.
was it. He was the best player in the '70s. It wasn't even close. Like it wasn't even close. So y'all can't convince me that he shouldn't be a top five player just because he won most of his championships with Magic. And Magic won all
Mhm.
of his championships with Kareem. But you can't convince me that Magic Johnson is, if you watch Magic Johnson film, that he wasn't the most amazing point guard you've ever seen in your life. Excuse me. So that's why they're both ranked top five. Let's get to Kobe. Should Kobe be top 10? I don't know. If I were ranking off the top of my head, I would say yes. Personally speaking, and y'all might hate me for this if you want. I can't I can't justify Shaq being ranked over Kobe. I can't justify it in my head. Anybody who wants to be like, see this clip and say, I want to debate you, and we can do it. I can't justify Shaq being over Kobe. I can justify Larry Bird being over Kobe. I can't justify Steph Curry being over Kobe. Um, that's probably about it
Mhm.
as far as who they ranked over in the top 10. Personally speaking, I don't think I would have LeBron ranked second, but I can see why most people have him there. Excuse me. Their reasoning was dinging him for not winning a Finals MVP the 3 years that he was with Shaq. But then they didn't keep that same energy for many other players. Magic Johnson didn't win Finals MVP every time. He won 5 championships, went to 9. And I think he has 3 Finals MVPs, if I'm not mistaken. Tim Duncan didn't win Finals MVP. I think he won 2 in this 4. I think Tony Parker got 1 and Kawhi got 1. But they ranked him over Kobe. Personally speaking, that's another guy I forgot about because he had a great career, but he wasn't very flashy, so he can be forgettable. I can't justify Tim Duncan being ranked over him. He has the same amount of championships. He has a better finals record. He has more MVPs. I don't think I don't think Tim Duncan should have 2 MVPs. I don't think Kobe should only have 1 MVP. That's just me
Mhm.
personally. Now, when he should have won it, I would have to really dive into it and look at it. But Kobe was so fantastic, specifically when he was the post Shaq Kobe was so fantastic as an individual player. It's like, okay, well, you know, maybe the record didn't justify it. So I can understand it, but I don't think that Tim Duncan should have 2 MVPs. Excuse me. So with that being said, Kobe to me is probably a top 7 player. Because I can't the other guys I can make a case for why they're at. And like in our rule on this podcast, no question whether this guy is better. Realistically, I think there's 5 guys I would say flat out better. That's on that list. So to say that because he didn't win Finals MVP those years that he was with Shaq, even though maybe he could have probably been co-Finals MVP their last season that they won their championship. Shaq was a force, And Shaq won Finals MVP because every team that they went up against did not have a guy who can beat them. It was that simple. He became the most dominant big man in the league for that reason. But I think they had Shaq ranked over Wilt Chamberlain. In my opinion, if that is the case, in my opinion, that's stupid. Like, I really need y'all to go watch Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain was giving it to you in many ways. The dominant Shaq was drop stepping dunking. He wasn't the quick, nimble footed that he was in Orlando. Wasn't the defender that Wilt Chamberlain was. I can't justify Shaq being over Wilt Chamberlain or Bill Russell for that matter, or Kareem for that matter. And personally, I wouldn't put him over Hakeem. But back to Kobe. Them saying that Kobe was never the best player in the NBA has to be the biggest lie. They even put in on their last top 100 list that Kobe was ranked the best player of the decade, the NBA players. They put that out there. I didn't. They put that out there in their last article that they did like this. So how did that? Who wrote this time? That y'all forgot that simple fact that you put in your last article. Last thing I would say about the list is Draymond Green being on the list is solely because of his championships. He has the Defensive Player of the Year as well. But they said that he was the greatest defender of his generation, like Kawhi Leonard didn't play basketball at the same time. He's the only player on the list that does not average double digit points, and he's never going to get there. Players don't start to score more as they get older. You see how many grays are in the bro beard? He's not putting up 10 points a game for the rest of his career. He actually would have to average closer to 15 points a game for the rest of his career to get back and probably play 4 or 5 more years. Draymond don't got that in him. So him being on the list solely because he's won a multitude of championships, I think, and I love Draymond. Love him as a player. Shouldn't be on the list. Zero, what do you got to say to me?
It for me, it just feels like they have they have Kobe at 11 for two reasons, and it involves the same player. I think I think it's yeah, with Steph, it's to I think with him winning that championship against the Celtics when
Mhm.
basically I think it's that. Not three things. I think it's that. I think it's the revolutionizing the 3 point shot, the volume of 3 pointers taken,
Mhm.
and it's also to justify the point guard conversation. And they were saying who is the better
Mm.
point guard. It has to just they have it's like you can't have a guy that's not in the top 10 and try to justify questioning if he is the better point guard than Magic Johnson. there's no way in hell that I can look at that and think that's not the reason as to why. That's all I got to say about the list.
So, all right. So here's a funny thing. We were talking about cannibalizing. Shaq's at Finals MVPs. Why doesn't Kevin Durant's Finals MVPs do that for Steph? Why isn't it the fact that Andre Iguodala that has a Finals MVP over? Like, how can I put this? Don't get me wrong. I don't believe that Andre Iguodala should have won the Finals MVP, but it
Yeah.
is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just so that's why the context needs to be involved versus just looking at accolades. So if we're gonna do solely looking at accolades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Andre Iguodala has an all Finals MVP, while Steph didn't. Steph had to win his fourth championship in order to get a Finals MVP. And personally, I think Steph should have three.
Yeah.
But if you look at that, Steph has a guy who was a role player essentially with a Finals MVP over.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe has Shaq, who y'all are saying is a top 10 greatest player ever that won the Finals MVPs over him. Shaq. So, we should hold it against you that the most dominant force you've ever seen play basketball won multiple Finals MVPs. And we're not going to give you credit for getting Pau Gasol, who was a one-time All-Star before he got with Kobe, in the West. Because who was in the West? Dirk. He wasn't better than Dirk. He wasn't better than Chris Webber. He wasn't better than
Age.
Kevin Garnett. He wasn't better than Tim Duncan. Those are four power forwards he wasn't better than in his prime years as a Memphis Grizzly.
Mm-hmm.
So of course he was never going to make an All-Star team unless one of those guys got hurt.
Yeah.
One could argue that Amari Stoudemire was better than him. I don't believe so, but one could argue that.
Al Jefferson was a center.
Yeah, he was a center. So, and I don't remember when Al Jefferson left the Celtics. Well, I guess I was. Oh wait, so Paul was already there.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, Al
Because
Jefferson.
he,
Well, I
yeah.
don't think Al Jefferson was better than him, even if he was a power forward.
Mm-hmm.
So so he had maybe the fourth or fifth best power forward in his conference. Lamar Odom, Andrew Bynum, who barely played in any of those finals that they won, and who y'all were trying to give the heir apparent to as far as the best big in the game, and he never became anything close to that. And he goes to 3 consecutive championships. Now, one of them, they got destroyed in that game 6.
Mm-hmm.
Then he beats the best, he beats the second best young player in the game in Dwight Howard after they beat LeBron, who was the best young player in the game, arguably. I'll say Dwight Howard's the third best. I'll put Melo over. Nah, he's probably lower than that. I'll probably put Wade over. Wade. No, Wade at that point, no. Wade at that point, no. So third. Third best young player in the game over him. And then he comes back goes against the same team that beat them, which everybody thought that they were going to get three, virtually a three-peat of Celtics Lakers.
Mm.
Kevin Garnett gets injured the second year, so of course they didn't get to the finals. And they go back and they beat the team that beat them and beat them down, like physically beat them. So he gets no credit for that. For almost getting another three-peat. So there's no credit for that, but Shaq gets a lot of credit when the championship that he won after Kobe. He didn't win Finals MVP. Dwayne Wade, who was a third-year player, won it.
Yeah, third year.
Who put the team on his back and carried. Now, don't get me wrong, Shaq got them to the finals. His dominance throughout the finals, but we're talking about Finals MVPs. So where's the context in that? Tim Duncan again, like I said, Kawhi Leonard averaged 17 and 10 when he won Finals MVP. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like Steph doesn't get Steph lost with a 73 and 19. Then said that they didn't have enough, went and got KD. KD wins two Finals MVPs over him. That doesn't get counted against him. Magic Johnson in his prime had players had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was at the end of who was in his prime, win Finals MVP over him, and James Worthy win Finals MVP over him another time. So those don't get counted over him. For some reason, Kobe's the only person who's dinged with playing with a Hall of Famer.
It's funny
I'm
how
not
that
a
works,
Kobe
right?
guy. I'm not a Kobe guy. I just try to be fair to everybody but Daniel Jones and Aaron Rodgers. I really just try to be fair to everybody but them. It's not fair. It's not just. It makes no sense why Anthony Davis is top 40 player. But then you can justify Kobe not being a top 10 player. There's a lot of guys I love that's on the list, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think anybody's gonna ever look at a top any list and be like, I agree with that wholeheartedly. So, shout to them for making a list. But to put to take like the biggest thing you have is Shaq was the best player. So he won Shaq, if Shaq didn't win the three MVPs those years, you're not looking at him the same. Shaq was the best center in basketball. What should have won it? You had Dikembe Mutombo trying to guard him. Dikembe Mutombo's built, rest in peace to him, he was built like a telephone pole. Yeah, what was the net center name? Todd McCullough?
Todd McCullough.
Todd McCullough? That's who he had guarding him. And then who was the Pacers center at the time?
Rick Smith.
Was it still Rick Smith?
Mm-hmm.
Rick Smith can hoop. I'm not going. But he couldn't guard Shaq. Rick Smith can play. Tom McCullough, who knows? And then
there is no who knows with Todd McCullough. We know.
Mutombo was the defensive player of the year, and he treated him like he was a rag doll. He just didn't have enough weight on him. And he was throwing balls like he was listening to Ludacris at all times. I'm surprised to come in leave the game with a broken nose, face mask, losing teeth. I'm surprised none of that happened to him. because Shaq was throwing bows. So it's just like,
Yo, he had Matumba looking like he didn't even know how to play basketball.
bruh, that's how physically imposing that man was. Because he couldn't do that because when he ran up against somebody else who was very strong, Ben
Mm,
Wallace, he couldn't do that to him.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Shaq is like, oh, if Shaq had 2 feet in the paint, he was getting a bucket. If he caught the ball with 2 feet in the paint, just give him the basket. Don't even foul him. Don't do none of that. He's getting the basket. So it's just like, why are we surprised that the guy who was the number one overall pick when he came out of college, who took his team to a finals in Orlando, was the best player on the team when the kid who came out of high school wasn't. Why is that like, oh no, yeah, that we should count that against him. What? What? Okay. Okay. We're gonna sit here and act like 21-year-old players win finals MVPs all the time. That's what we're doing with Kobe right now. And people are saying like there's a lot of disrespect going around about Kobe lately. T Mac said like if he had Shaq, he would have won championships too. Yes. One of the years Kobe averaged 15 a game in the championships that they won. Yes. If all he had to do was be a called on the team, yes. I would have won an NBA championship if I would have played with Shaq. So T Mac's not wrong. So I'm trying to make it seem like he's a Kobe hater.
Yo, I hate when what's it called? When he says that and dudes like Nick Young are sitting here saying, well, he never got out of the first round. It's like that's the fucking point.
That's why,
If he
like,
if he had a Shaq on his team, there would be no question as to if he could make it out of the first round because that was the point of the exercise, Nick. He's like, he never made it out of the first round. You thought the same thing was going to happen if he had a Shaq on his team?
Tracy McGrady statistically, I think somebody said he's the only player who statistically improved in the postseason and never got out the first round. Do you think that's a T Mac problem? T Mac guarded Dirk and held him to like 34% from the field, and they didn't get out the first round.
And you keep on
Why?
saying this. Oh,
I don't understand. I don't understand these talking heads. I really don't. I really don't. It's just like I said, I'm a nerd, okay? I'm a nerd. I'm not a jock. I'm a semi-jock. So I get it. Like, yeah, we shouldn't listen to people like me. Okay, I get it. I really do. I really do. But we shouldn't listen to people like Nick Wright. We shouldn't listen to people like Cowherd, who just have like goggles on when it comes to certain guys and don't want to admit it. Cowherd bashed Russell Westbrook for many years. That's because he didn't like his style of play. There's nobody who says that they don't like Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook went from leading averaging 28. KD comes back, he goes back to averaging 23. KD leaves, he goes to leading the league in scoring, averaging a triple double. Paul George comes, he takes the backseat to Paul George. Yet you don't like him for what? He doesn't make guys better. Yet KD won him MVP with him. Paul George was the only time Paul George was the MVP was when he was with him. So it's just like these guys shouldn't like. And again, they're great at what they do. I'm like whether I agree with them or not, they're fantastic at what they do. But we got to start calling these people out on their biases. I'll tell y'all my biases. I hate Aaron Rodgers. I hate Saul Canelo Alvarez. Not I hate that Daniel Jones got paid $40 million. I hate Daniel Jones. I just hate that he got paid that. I hate. Who else do I hate? I'm sure I hate a lot of other players. I hate Baker Mayfield, but I'm not going to sit here and act like, yo, this is like I'm not biased. It's like, oh well, you're calling me biased, even though I was right about this one thing many years ago, and this happened in the game. I'm gonna hold on to that for dear life. No, there's never been a player who didn't have a bad game, a bad fight, bad match. Never been an athlete who hasn't had that. So what? Why do we act like these things should be surprising to us? Why are we acting like, again, Kobe being a 21-year-old, 22-year-old, not winning finals MVP when you had the most dominant force in basketball playing with him? So what did you think Kobe should do? So like I need to ask these people, like what do you think Kobe should have done? Yeah, let's not give it to the guy after 38 and 15. So
And
I
what's it
can get the
called?
award.
And even remember, Kobe told the story, even though this is regular season, when Kobe went on his streak of 40-point games, and Phil
Oh, when
Jackson
Shaq
came
was
to
hurt.
him. Yeah, and Phil Jackson came to Kobe and he said, "Yo, we're gonna lose the big fella," and he scaled back. He scaled back what he was doing so that Shaq it was like so Shaq could be motivated for when playoff time came. So you would think just getting into the playoffs would be motivation enough for you to want to go and win a championship. But it's like, ego is a motherfucker.
Yeah. And even like it's just like one of those things like when people bring up certain things, I just don't know we said this on the podcast before. People don't care about being right. They just care about you being wrong, right? So like even if you prove them wrong, it doesn't matter. Like Jordan got swept in the first round. When you look at the roster, you couldn't name anybody on that roster. You no, zero.
Mm.
You couldn't name anybody on that roster, and they got the names under their faces. You would literally look at the name and be like, "That ain't him." I think his
Orlando
name is this.
Woolridge.
I think his name is this. That kid,
Dave,
he don't look like an Orlando.
Dave Corzine. He bags groceries. That's not an NBA player.
So, and then he'll be like, "Well, why didn't he get out the first round?" And then you see that he went up against Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Dennis Smith, not Dennis Smith, Dennis
Dennis
Johnson,
Johnson.
Danny Ainge, and Robert Parrish. Oh, I wonder why. And then when LeBron went up against a similar thing against the Warriors, then you're like, that was the toughest team ever. They got 4 Hall of Famers. Yeah,
Versus,
so did the other. They actually had
yeah,
5.
including Bill.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Bill
saying.
coming
Like
off the
they even
bench.
yeah, they had 5. And
Yeah.
one is up for the Hall of Fame soon. Or Danny Ainge, I think has been a no. I think he was a Hall of Fame finalist. I don't think he's going to get in. He might get in as an exec, but I don't think he will either. I don't think he'll get in for that either. But
It's
like,
like context
yeah,
matters, and nobody cares about the context
well, he
when
got swept in the first. Okay,
it's
dude
like
dropped 63 on that team. He was carrying the team by himself, but that don't matter. The MVP of the league said he thought he saw God in basketball shoes, and you're like, he still lost though. You stupid. You're stupid.
it's it's that line I heard before. It's like I could walk on water, and folks would be like, "I bet he can't swim."
Yeah, Bro, he thought he saw God in basketball shoes, and then they're like, "Yeah, well, he didn't
Yeah,
win.
and it's like
He would
dude
have
was
won." Like, yeah, he's not God.
yeah,
That's the point.
it's like what more could he do? It's like you said with the people that he had, and then you got folks really trying to give they're really trying to give Scottie Pippen more credit than
Bruh.
he did. Like, come on, yo.
Bruh. And then even in the last dance, I saw somebody say like, "Oh, he sought out Dennis Rodman." Even in the last dance, Phil Jackson said he went to Jordan and was like, "Should we get him?" And he was like, "Yeah, as long as you can keep him under wraps."
If he couldn't
Like,
keep him
so
under wraps, he wasn't going to be on the
It was
team.
Phil Jackson and Jay Krause went to Jordan and asked permission. How is that seeking out? Because what's his name didn't like him. Pippen didn't like him. So Pippen didn't want him on the team, but nobody cared because
Yeah,
he's
it's like
Scottie Pippen.
yeah, it's like who the fuck are you? Like look at how they treated him on open court.
Yeah, they
It's like
did bro
Michael,
dirty.
it's like Scottie Pippen. It's like man, go to the park. No, it's like yo, it's like this the same Scottie Pippen who pouted and quit on his team because he wasn't taking the final shot. The same Scottie Pippen because it's like what even though it's kind of off track, what I hate because I remember I talked to you earlier about the cancel court episode that I watched again with dude Ryan yeah dude Ryan Davis really try to make it seem like you said, "Oh, they were a couple wins away from making it back to the Eastern Conference Finals." It was like everybody loves talking about what the Bulls did the season after Jordan retired, and they always gloss over when Jordan came back later on in the year, where the fuck they were at before Jordan came back.
Well, yeah, we had mentioned this. I was like, when they were winning that year after, Scottie
Mhm.
Pippen wasn't pointing at his shoes telling Jordan to come back.
When they were losing.
When they were losing, oh my God. So it's just like again, it's just like what do y'all expect? Like it's like even this is like, even with the ring culture thing, and to be honest, athletes are somewhat to blame for this. Like when Steph said he was better than Magic, and the first thing Magic said was, "Oh, when he wins 5 championships." But then they get mad when you hold the championships to get over their head, like, "Oh, well, you didn't win." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know what the like. How can I put this? I don't know what the like. It's like it's expected. Every great player has to win a championship, and if you don't, you weren't that great of a player. But then when you talk to everybody who had to guard him, they're like, "This dude's the best player I ever played against." And it's like, yeah, like Charles Barkley never won a championship, and then you hear Chris Webber talk about him. And he was like, yo, that dude was unstoppable. And then you hear people talk about Chris Webber. It's like, yo, like I didn't want to see Chris Webber. You know what I'm saying? Like dude was that nasty. And then it's like and then it's like, oh well, Robert Ory got 7 championships. And it's like nobody's ever talked about Robert Ory like that. Tracy McGrady's never got out of the first round. Yeah, and so, like I said, there was maybe 1 or 2 years where I'm like, he should have, but he didn't. Didn't
Yeah.
dude led the league in scoring. One of those years, I think he averaged 31, and he was the most unstoppable offensive player in the game. You couldn't, you couldn't do nothing with him. He made it look so easy.
And Nick Young tried to make it seem as if he never heard the conversation who was when they said who was better, McGrady or Kobe. Like he really tried to sit here and make it seem as if he've never heard that a conversation.
Maybe they don't talk about that in Kansas City. I don't know. They don't have a basketball team. Maybe they just didn't talk about
Mhm.
basketball very often because, or maybe I don't know. I really don't understand it. He's married to a black woman. He's my age, I think. I think he's a little older than me. he's heard that conversation. You see what I'm saying? But it's just like with these lists and stuff like that. Again, I don't want to bash the list too much because it's hard to rank 100 players. It's hard to rank 10 players.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and nobody's gonna agree with you 100%. But it's just like, but when you try, when you're their justification, it's like, okay, like how does Dwight Howard, who should have won 4 or 5 defensive player of the years, won 3 defensive players of the years, multiple all NBAs, just like Anthony Davis, won a championship with Anthony Davis,
Hmm.
was the reason why that he was the only person who could guard Jokic. He's the reason why they got to the finals. They didn't play him in the finals for whatever reason, but he was the reason why they got to the finals. Because Anthony Davis, to this day, can't guard Jokic. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, he was the best defensive player on the team when it came to guarding the best big man in basketball at the time. Arguably, I'll still take Embiid over Joker. But like, yeah, no, that none of that. He actually carried his team to a finals with Hito Turkoglu and Rashard Lewis, 2 players that they were good, but you none of them are good. None of them are you thinking should be the second best player on the championship team. So you saw that, and it's like, yeah, Anthony Davis is the guy for what? I really like anybody who sees this podcast, sees this clip, anything. Tell me why Anthony Davis is so highly touted from all these players. Yeah, is he talented? Yes. Both of them were first overall picks. The difference is Dwight Howard did it coming out of high school. Now the rules changed for that, but I don't know if he would have been #1 player if he would have came out the year before. I don't know who came out the year before, but I don't know if he would have been. So it's just like, who knows? I don't get it. I don't get like if you're gonna justify it or you're gonna like, then it's like, okay, like it has to make sense and it has to be consistent. And that's my thing. It's not consistent. Having a guy averaging a triple single shouldn't be, I don't care how many titles he has. He shouldn't be a top 100 player. He doesn't have enough accolades outside of the 4 championships to be a top 100 player, in my opinion. Because I don't think he's ever been all NBA. I think he's been all defensive a few times. Defensive player of the year, but it's just like, yo, there's 2 ends to the court. You know what I'm saying? Dennis Rodman at least got rebounding titles to go with it. I think Dennis Rodman led the league in rebounds, what, 5 or 6 times? He's never led the league. Draymond's never led the league in anything except technical fouls. How is he a top 100 player? Except for testicle kicks. I love Draymond Green. I love his podcast. Kids, this ain't the way. Anyways, let's wrap this up with this last topic. Shannon Sharp, Uncle Shay. Settle out of court. The young lady who they keep calling Jane Doe, even though Shannon Sharp told everybody who she was, got a settlement. She retired from OnlyFans. She wasn't doing OnlyFans while this whole thing was going on, so I don't know why. It's like news that she is retiring. It seems like you already retired long ago.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it. You were too aggressive in your denial to pay that woman money. You did a whole campaign about it and how Busby was attacking black men. And it's just like, now I feel like he won. Because Jay-Z was like, nah, we ain't doing this. How does she not show up to court and then you're like, yeah, let's pay her? She sued for 50 million. I know Shannon ain't paying her that. Some people are saying it was probably 10. I don't think she got that much. I don't like that it's always an undisclosed amount. But I don't like that Shannon settled. Fight it. If it's really not like that, and it's in the end, y'all, win, lose, or draw. The great American philosopher Cassidy once said that. What you got?
Yeah, I don't like it either. Like if you feel is like if you know that it's true that all these allegations, yeah, you know that all these allegations weren't true. Fight it in court. Get your It's like get this tainted nonsense off of your name. They're gonna have to prove it's like have them prove that they're the person that they try to describe you as.
Mm,
They gotta prove that. It's not up to you to shut them up. We talked about it off air, the Michael Jackson situation. You it was like because settlement because the court of public opinion are gonna be like if you were so innocent, why'd you pay these people? You're gonna it makes you look guilty. It's like it doesn't yeah, it don't make any sense. Like fight it for as long as you can. If you got it to last in court, just do it because now folks gonna look at you like, yeah, you did it. You gave her hush money. It's like
yeah,
you didn't want that shit to go further than what it was because it might actually make you look even worse. But that's all they can believe because of the fact that you decided, you know what? I don't want to deal with this because
that's why. I'm sorry. That's why Cassie, what she did, what is even more important. Like you put all your stuff out there for justice. Didn't go the way you wanted it to go, but you fought it to the
mhm.
end. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, because the fact that this person didn't show up for the first day of court, like there ain't no way in hell that you're gonna accuse me of this shit and then you don't show up for the first day. And like I said, I think it was only one day. You ain't show up for court one day, and then all of a sudden you settled. And the only solace that you get is that this can't be brought back up into court again because they said it was dismissed with prejudice. You can't, yeah, this can't be brought back up. But like fight to the end because you have to, because you claimed your innocence. Now they got to prove that you're not innocent. They have to prove that.
Beyond all reasonable doubt.
And now there's just a whole bunch of doubt hanging over your head now. You may not be going to court anymore. You may be back on ESPN soon with the football season starting, but in the back of everybody's minds, it's still going to be the same thing. Is all this stuff true? Or is Shannon just talking just to talk? And
Yeah,
Busby just it seemed like Busby trying to make a name for himself. He can't seem to get a W to save his life, but he always on the guy.
yeah. I guess technically, I guess this could be. I don't know. Depending on the amount of money they got, this could be considered a win. This could be considered a win. But at the same time, at the end of the day, nobody really had to go out there and prove anything. So realistically, it's a draw.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't like it. Don't like it. Don't like it at all. And then they said Jane Doe announced that she was retiring from OnlyFans. This is like, so y'all gonna keep trying to act like we don't know who she is? Why do we keep calling her this? Why do we keep calling her Jane Doe? But you know, I don't know. Maybe he'll talk about it on his podcast a little more. Um, but yeah, as far as what we got right now, settle out of court, and hopefully that young lady, uh, if this was a scam, hopefully she doesn't have to scam anybody ever again. If it wasn't a scam, hopefully whatever money she got pays for her healing. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, that's it for us, man. I recorded this in the whip because we had a party for Duchess's mom, and they were still here when I needed to record. So yeah, man, pop the trunk production literally. I don't know if y'all heard that, but I just popped my trunk. So, so yeah, man, that's it. That's it for us. If y'all enjoy the podcast, thank you so much for listening. We love y'all. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Parting shot. What's your parting shot, Zero?
Chris Carter, shut your stupid ass up. That's my party shot.
My parting shot is there's a guy that Zero tells me about named Legend of Winning, aka Low. And he built a great basketball podcast. I don't need you to talk about anything before your time. Like before whatever your time is of watching basketball, just don't talk about it. You don't respect the game enough to even bother going through it. Don't do it anymore. Like I don't know how old he is. He's probably around my age, maybe a little younger, maybe a little older. Because he's mentioned Kobe. He talks about Kobe pretty highly, so I'm assuming he's in that, mid to late 30s. If you're not gonna respect the game enough to really study what was going on back then, stop talking about what was going on back then. That's it for me. Um, but yeah, we love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching or listening. And we'll see you next week.